Forgiveness is one of those things we know we are supposed to do, that we have a directive to forgive. And whether the offense ranges from just a simple misunderstanding to a premeditated attack, our response is actually always supposed to be the same. There's actually no wiggle room, that it's always forgiveness. And whether we walk in forgiveness or we hold on to that offense has profound implications. But how can we know that we're sincere in that forgiveness? I mean, is it only me that when you're willing, there are moments you're still questioning, God, I'm trying, but I'm not sure how sincere I am. Almost to the point of like, okay, Lord, I'll forgive them, which doesn't have a whole lot of power. Now, recently, somebody made a comment that just grabbed my attention and opened my eyes to a profound revelation of how to approach forgiveness in a way that gives us that confident assurance that we are walking in genuine forgiveness, and in some ways begins to help us understand even greater God's nature and His character. We'll come to that in a moment, but some of the profound implications in forgiveness. Obviously, we have a directive with, again, no wiggle room. But when we forgive, we open up God's forgiveness and His blessings in our life. We begin to reflect His nature and character. And in some ways, real forgiveness should give us a glimpse of a greater understanding of who God is. That real revelation that He's not an angry God, that He truly is full of grace and mercy. In some ways, it should give us greater confidence in so many other areas of our life. And failure to forgive can be so destructive that we are not unaware of the schemes of the enemy. See, Satan would love to keep us fixated on that offense, that hurt, that wounding, whatever it was. He would want us to focus on our need to be heard, to exercise our rights, etc. That seems reasonable. But all of that is part of his scheme that would draw us further, it would distract us for all that God has for us and for them. And it's that recognition that walking in unforgiveness actually begins to cut us off from God's blessings. And ultimately, genuine forgiveness qualifies us for greater promotion. But again, how can we have that confident assurance? And so for me, I mean, and maybe this is just me, I've gone that gamut from, yes, okay, Lord, fine, I forgive, which again didn't have a whole lot of sincerity to it, to I reasoned out maybe the way to approach this is to ask God to bless people. Now, candidly, there were times I felt like I really meant it, and there was other times when I just wasn't sure. I mean, I'm doing it, God, but I don't feel anything. I don't, is it one of those that, God, if I just repeat this, I'm consistent with it, at some point I'll feel this confidence that I really mean it? Or am I just going through the motions? So the comment was made to me just recently that one way to look at forgiveness is begin to pray for people from God's perspective and His desires for them. Which means that we don't just blanket ask God to bless, but it requires us to actually approach God in prayer with an emphasis on, God, what do you want for this person? And it means we also have to recognize that rather than us just assuming God wants to punish them, which is not His nature, but going further than a general blessing, which is what I've prayed in the past. But frankly, that it's like really seeking God out for that desire that He has for them and praying that. Is God saying to us that they're wounded in some way and He wants to heal that? Is God saying that He wants them to know Him? What is it God is saying for them? And us being that instrument of prayer, that watchman on the wall, the one who stands in the gap on their behalf. That's profound when you really stop and think about it. Hang on, Lord. I'm going from being hurt, wounded, or offended to being their guardian, so to speak, in the Spirit, I'm pretty convinced we can't take that approach. We can't invest ourselves in approaching God on their behalf and not be fully convinced of our sincerity. We may not feel it. We may not necessarily feel that forgiveness. There may still be a little bit of pain or hurt or whatever, but the reality is that process of forgiveness brings health and wholeness and healing to us. And this can be a process of drawing us even closer to God, to recognizing more of His nature and allowing us to walk in a greater degree of forgiveness. And as I said, genuine forgiveness actually qualifies us for greater promotion in God's kingdom. And it's the kind of thing we probably should practice, because part of living in a fallen world means it's something we will get to approach in a whole new way, in a whole new situation, repeatedly for the rest of our lives. So rather than making it a requirement, can we turn it into an opportunity? An opportunity to draw near to God on their behalf, to see God's heart poured out for them, to pray into that, and be just part of God's miraculous work. And to our benefit, there are profound promotion implications and benefits that go with it. That part of being a kingdom warrior is recognizing how we battle. And forgiveness, the power of forgiveness, is a powerful tool in our success.